So they want to pay themselves first, and then what's left of whatever is left, they want us to split with them. They want us to split that with them, which leaves less than 15% for the players.
The WNBA and its players union have let their latest CBA expire with just months before the 2026 season is set to tip off. As of right now, the ball is in the league's court, while the players are waiting for a counter to their latest proposal. After weeks of radio silence, the two sides finally met and came away with no agreement. They both agree the players need to be paid. The disagreement is how. And depending on who you ask, either the league is being unreasonable or the players are overplaying their hand. But what we're really seeing is fascinating. Real life negotiation tactics. The players are using social pressure and transparency, while the league is playing hardball by refusing to even respond.
How could they go into a bona fide negotiation with one side thinking that the other side was coming in with an offer and the other side said, offer? What offer? I have no offer. I'm here to explain to you why our last offer was just as good as any offer and the best you're going to get.
So what's holding up both sides at the table? How long before it affects the season and the players? And how have Unrivaled and Project B already changed the W's future? Right now, the WNBA and its players union are operating under what's called a status quo agreement. Status quo basically means both sides agree in good faith to follow the CBA that just expired. After two pretty dramatic deadline extensions, they'll move forward under the old rules until a new deal is done. So technically the season can go on and things can operate as normal, but as a player, you're not signing anything based on those old numbers. And as the league, you do what's well within your right. Collect money from ticket sales and venue bookings. A fragile setup, but it'll hold as long as they get to an agreement. The three big issues holding up the agreement right now are revenue sharing, housing as an umbrella for the other things the league takes care of, and investment in the league. So we're talking training facilities and access to rehab and development professionals. That system that makes players better and keeps them healthy.
The biggest thing is we're struggling with the salary system, and then we struggle with the salary, and then from there I think all the other things that we're fighting for, housing, benefits, like retired players, like that'll come once we can agree on a number, but right now we can't agree.
Now, the league has increased player salaries and team caps over the years, more substantially in recent years, but it's always been small percentage bumps. In the early CBAs, the players were able to get things like housing added while keeping salaries comparatively low. Everyone essentially bought the message that the league just wasn't profitable yet, and over time, the league framed things like charter flights, retirement benefits, and maternity leave as concessions. It kept the players on board and the costs within reason. So as the parties kept coming back to negotiate, the players accepted low salaries but asked for things like daycare, their own rooms on road trips, and dedicated facilities. And that's where the league eventually started to push back. It's like they finally saw the flaw in their own plan. If salaries are so low, why are the Chicago Sky sharing a practice facility? Why are the Connecticut Sun sharing lockers with the public?
Flatline. They want us to stay at that less than 15% each year. So if the league grows in 26, 27, 28, 29,
30,
we stand at that less than 15% the whole way through.
So understandably, the players started feeling disrespected, and the league started feeling like the players were asking for too much. By the time we get to the 2020 CBA, it had everything the players could think of in it. They didn't expect to get much of it, but they understood they were laying the groundwork for a future CBA that would lead to the real gains. That's why this CBA is so important. The future is now. But how much change can there really be in this system? As of right now, the league pays whatever bills it wants to pay first, then the players share along with the owners and other players whatever is left. And the league only has to share the number, not what they spent it on or who it went to. So of course the players have a problem with that level of non-transparency. That's the main reason they want to split percentages before the league takes out expenses. They want agreed upon expenses. They want that split to be fair. So here it is. The players want to split revenue. They've been accepting a split of the profit, whatever the league says is left. But as much as they want to split the revenue, this comes along with both parties parties agreeing what those before expenses are. Are we taking out housing before the split? Are we taking out retirement matching before the split? Things like team administration costs and upkeep are a given, but what about everything else? And that's where the real negotiations lie. So once you have all that, the players want 30% of revenue, and the league has yet to counter.
We're talking about gross revenue, which is revenue after expenses, and then net revenue, which is overall. Our struggle is that between the WNBPA and the WNBA, we can't figure out like a common ground.
That's where the holdup is. Revenue sharing is the head of the snake, and without a counter proposal, you can't really fine tune the small details. Because as they negotiate max salaries and team caps, they're also wiggling in changes to the little things the league has paid for over the years, or things being asked for in the modern era. Take housing. Instead of a team outright paying for every player or giving universal stipends, it would now depend on player status and roster spots. Max players might lose their housing stipend. It becomes a case-by-case matter. Looking at facilities, the players are demanding owners invest in their teams. Not every owner is a Matt Ishbia ready to go 10 toes down. So the players could add a clause for owners who want to cheap out would have to sell their team, which again would be on a case-by-case basis, but that would be one of those small details the players could iron out. And that's the problem with comparing the WNBA to the NBA or other leagues that don't offer housing. The W's players were ahead of the game in that one area, and the league saw it. If they didn't make changes, they'd end up paying bigger salaries and covering all the basics of life for their players. Baked into the revenue split, the players are asking for higher salaries, more roster spots, team staffing requirements, higher 401k contributions, payments to current retired players, family rooms at games, increased promotional and commercial appearances, complimentary all-star tickets to selected all-stars, and free WNBA League Pass. I still can't believe they didn't already have free League Pass. But that's just some of what's in their proposal. It gets really specific when you dive into the nitty-gritty of the revenue sharing system. So of course the league wants to win the negotiation, but they've allowed the relationship to sour. Neither side wants to give in on revenue sharing, and now it's a game of who blinks first. But the problem at this point is they've lost the luxury of time. We need answers by March. Can't really get all the other dates ironed out without a counter proposal. Looking at you, WNBA. The season is supposed to start May 8th, and with no delays, you should have 15 to 20 days of training camp. I would argue for more, but that's what they've done in the past. That puts you roughly at the week of the 20th for April. Now, usually what's before that is the college draft, and even then, it's roughly 2 to 3 weeks. So it's not a lot of time, but again, for the WNBA, this is normal. Now, usually what happens before this is free agency, and in all honesty, this usually starts around January. So the teams and the players usually have time to put out those qualifying offers, make some top tier signings in February, some second tier signings in March, and essentially be ready for the college draft. And then adding one more addition to this season is the expansion draft. The WNBA is adding 2 teams, and that's usually done well before free agency. And to be fair, expansion drafts are usually done behind the scenes, so it's not a big production, with both teams kind of knowing who's up for grabs. And it's pretty well known that more than 85% of the league are free agents anyway, so whoever they draft in the expansion might not even end up on their rosters. But still, all in all, the timeline is very rigid. That gives them about 3 weeks to not only complete and sign the CBA, but get the college draft, the expansion draft, free agency, and training camp before the start of the season. And because they're in status quo, to actually stop the season or pressure the other side, someone has to officially call a lockout or a strike. A strike is started by the players. It stops or delays free agency, drafts, and the season. A lockout is initiated by the league. Same result, but they still hold their own individual power to change that. The players could do this to be patient and play in other leagues like Unrivaled until a deal is done, but it's not a permanent solution. Even if there is a strike, it'll be very brief.
I can't say that there is or there isn't because I'm not 100% sure, but I know Unrivaled is prepared in so many different instances, and the biggest one being that we own the space that we play in. So if we wanted to stay here year round as the players of Unrivaled with equity in this league and with space, financial money, all that stuff, we could stay here, train, play, put on another season if need be. So that's the beautiful thing, and that's why I'm so appreciative to be a part of a league like Unrivaled. And you know, even people out there, I know it's a touchy topic of like Project B, but at the same time, I'm so happy these entities are coming out here, because now, you have to move because there are challengers to you.
The league would only do this to put pressure on the union and signal a complete restructure, basically threatening to blow it all up and start fresh, maybe even with replacement players. Obviously, that will not go over with the fans. I don't think we'll make it to game 1 without a deal, but I do think the league might blow up the current relationship to start a new one if it comes to that. It seems like they can see the writing on the wall at this point, but even if that did work in the short term, they'd end up right back here in the long run. So the W's players are playing their hand pretty well. They're asking for way more than they think they'll get, and the league is playing it right back by refusing to come to the table with any type of counteroffer. In the business world, it's pretty wild that they're both playing with a full poker face, with both parties still understanding the WNBA wants to be prioritized over all the other leagues in the world. But that honestly leads into the stickiest part of all of this, in my opinion. The WNBA has allowed this to drag on for so long that the players didn't just build other leagues from scratch. They opened the door for a worldwide league like Project B to come in and compete for their talent.
There is spinning going on like nobody's business right now. They're close to a deal. The WNBA is fine. The players have a strike fund. They voted to strike, except they don't have a time when. They're fine. Everything is coming up roses and hunky-dory for the WNBA. That the WNBA schism between the owners and players may be too great to overcome.
The players don't just feel disrespected, they feel dismissed as the least important part of a basketball league. So when a league like Unrivaled pops up offering equity, true partnership in the business, it changes everything, every feeling and every future negotiation. And Unrivaled might have gotten away with it quietly if Project B hadn't come right behind them. These two leagues are normalizing equity in a player's contract. Steph Curry has been trying to do that with the Warriors through his last 2 deals. But the women, almost by happenstance, they've set themselves up to get a slice of the entire pie, not just split the piece all the players get. And that's where the WNBA lost the plot. Even if it's not this CBA, the players are coming for true equity. And it's kind of the W's fault. After playing hardball all these years, the players are now coming for fair pay, back pay, future pay, all the pays. No matter who wins, the WNBA is going to look very different. It's just a matter of whether that change happens on the inside or the outside. Because Adam Silver was right about one thing. The W is not the NBA. They cannot be paid like the men. They're actually shooting for a whole lot more.
We're prepared to do it, to not play, but we don't want to. If we don't get what we want, we will sit out, but we don't want to do that.
So if you made it this far, thanks for hanging out. Do you think we'll get a delayed season? Are the players overplaying their hand? Let me know in the comments, and we'll do this again next time.
Don't forget to like and subscribe, players.